today's topic that we will be discussing is basically an AVID strategy. This last year, as you know, we started off in fourth grade. So students were able to be exposed to the AVID strategies. And what we decided to do was we wanted to take one of those strategies that really resonated with distance learning and share it out with everyone. So first of all, thank you for being here. I wanted to tell you what AVID is in case you are not familiar. AVID is basically a program that empowers students with knowledge and skills to be college and career ready. So I know that we cannot control the future, but having these strategies under our belt or being able to know what these strategies are really does allow the students to take control of their education and their learning and really make them be successful. So just know that this is only our second year. So I know that all of the fourth grade teachers were trained in AVID, and I believe that there's supposed to be more teachers going, but in our current situation, the fifth graders right now are very knowledgeable and aware, and we're hoping to grow the AVID program by having the teachers in fourth grade, now expose our students to these wonderful strategies that will help them. As you know, well, maybe, there are 5 different strategies to the AVID program. And these strategies include writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. And each one of these strategies, as you can see, will help students be successful in upcoming world problem situations, in their career, in elementary, high school, and even college. But today, what we wanted to focus on was the strategy of organization. We really felt that this was going to be very helpful to parents through distance learning. So today, we're going to be talking about the strategy of organization and some of the things that it encompasses and how it could help your child be career ready and be successful this year. But before we begin, I wanted to tell you that we came up with, teachers came up with words that what we wanted an awesome scholar, the goal for an awesome scholar. And mind you, there was a lot of different words that resonated with teachers to say what makes an awesome scholar. But out of all of those different characteristics, we came up with the top 12 or so. And I'm just going to show you a couple of them. And it's being prepared. It's being respectful. It's being empathetic and focused. We want kids to be motivated and we want them to be present. We need them to have perseverance and be innovative. Even when things are not going their way, they need to be persistent. And definitely we need to be kind and we need to be safe. So these are some words that the teachers came up with to say that this is what we would love our scholars to have. And not just at school, but even as a parent, I want my child to carry on these characteristics also when they're at home or in public. Well, we cannot have an awesome scholar if we don't have an awesome parent. So actually last year we conducted a class and I had some parents come up with some characteristics that parents needed to have in order for them to have awesome children, right? So to do awesome things. And for example, we needed to be able to self-care. And I know that seems kind of weird, but we talk a lot about self-care. And us as parents, we need to be able to take care of ourselves. So we need to be able to take time to just go for a walk or, take a mental break. Okay. So that's self-care. We need to be patient because there's a lot of new situations that the students are in that we have never really encountered before. But knowing that we can be patient with them, the kids will be able to come to you with situations. Okay. We need to be good listeners. We need to listen to what they have to say instead of like right away saying, but why did you do that? You know, so we need to listen to what they're actually trying to say and maybe help them come up with some solutions on their own. We need to be sincere. In other words, we cannot like promise them the world when we know that we cannot do that. So you need to be sincere with the things that you talk to them about. We need to be lovable, and we also need to be present. We have to be understanding because just as you know, you can be frustrated. Students can also get very frustrated. There's a lot of issues that we have never really encountered. And so we need to be understanding of the feelings that the kids are having. You need to be a promise keeper, because if you tell them that you are going to promise to take them to the park if they, you know, get an A on a math test, then you can't say a week later, oh, well, no, I'm too busy. So whatever you promise, you need to make sure that you are keeping that promise. And we also need to be sincere. I have sincere on here twice. But we also need to maintain our positivity. We have to allow our kids to know that we believe in them. And yes, not everything is going to be easy for them, and not everything is going to come right away. But we do need to provide them with a positive growth mindset that they can continue to do and work on as they go. Ms. Taylor, since you're my person that I know, do you feel like this is important to know as a parent?
Absolutely. And they're good reminders as a parent.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And even as I'm also a parent, and I when I read these, I say to myself, yes, I need to work on that one, because sometimes, we tend to go into conclusions, or maybe like we were raised a certain way, and so we do not necessarily want our students to do what we did, but they kind of need to learn through mistakes, but we need to be there, supporting them. So thank you for that. And so again, we're going to talk about organization today. Organization is one of the strategies that AVID really looks upon as being something that allows students to be very successful. And we're not just born with organization, okay? Organization needs to be explicitly taught. So that means like when they come home from school, they need to have a place to put their backpack. They need to have a routine that allows them to understand that they're not just going to come home and throw their shoes on the floor. When they wake up, they need to have things in a certain location. So you need to explicitly teach your child organization. If kids are organized, this will allow them to take ownership of their learning. For example, if I don't know where my binder is because I left it, I don't know where, how am I supposed to be ready to learn? But if I know where things are and I'm organized, this allows me, I'm going to go get my organizer, I'm going to go get my binder, I'm going to open it up, and that puts it on me. I am independent of my own learning, okay? Organization is going to maintain the student's attention, because I'm organized. I have my notepad next to me. I have my pencil. I'm ready to learn. I am organized and I am here. I am present. It's going to maintain my attention. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to be motivated by things that my teacher is saying. Maybe I'm going to put little stickers on my planner to say that I completed something. So that's going to create an internal motivation for myself. Organization is going to help build time management. Instead of me running around at 7:29 getting my stuff together, if I have it all organized in a specific place, I'm going to get on the computer and I'm going to be ready and I'm going to be organized. So I'm not going to be running around with my head like, oh my gosh, where's my stuff? And then once I sit down, well, I'm still trying to process what I was doing running around. So organization is going to help with time management. And it's actually going to give me independence as a student. So it's really important that these concepts of organization are explicitly taught, because they give the students ownership, they create attention for them, and they create motivation. They help them with time management. They're not running around saying what's next. And they're going to be independent. They're going to be like, Mom, I don't need to know what's next, because guess what? I have a schedule in front of me. I know what's going to happen next. And you know that when we know what happens next, we are very at ease and we're very comfortable. So we know that organization is going to build confidence, and confidence in myself is going to build success. So these are really important, just little things to remember about organization. And moving on. As you know, our time in distance learning is very different than going to school and getting home and throwing the backpack on the ground. But it's different times. So we came up with some things, and maybe after Ms. Taylor, you can maybe give us a suggestion. Maybe we can add something to the slide. But it is important for us to be able to teach our children to organize time. Again, remember, this is all a learning process, and we are here explicitly teaching them about distance learning. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, they're going to have the schedule down and they're going to be ready. So the first thing we start off with is set an alarm. If we set an alarm, we will give ourselves time to get ready, to groom ourselves, to have a little breakfast, to get ourselves into the mindset of, I'm going to be in front of my peers and my teacher, and I'm going to give myself that time. We need to make sure that we are ready to go with live instruction at 7:30 in the morning every day, Monday through Friday. Not at 7:35, not at 7:40, but be ready to learn at 7:30. I would even decide to go in the, be ready. I know the teachers are starting their teams meet a little bit, a couple minutes early. So I would be one of the first ones to be on there. And also returning back promptly from breaks, because as you know, the teachers have a schedule to keep, and a lot of the directions are given right away. So if somebody pops in from break 10 minutes later, a lot of the things have already been provided. A lot of the assignment or the directions have been provided. So it's really important for them to be prompt. I know that the 3rd through 6th graders received a planner or an organizer. We have used these in the past before. And honestly, I feel like as an adult, I have my own organizer, and I always tell my students, I even show them, I have it by month, I have it by day, I have it by hour. This keeps track of my time. So for students, we want them to write down when their live instruction starts. We want them to write down their assignments and when they're due. We want them to also keep track of goals. Like, for example, by the end of this month, I should have X number of quizzes, or I should have this many puzzles in ST Math. So did I meet my goal? It's something that we can reflect back on. Maybe I didn't meet it, but it's something that I can improve on the next month. Okay. We attached a copy of the schedule, and I can see that it's kind of tiny to see, but we have put this schedule out many different ways. So hopefully you have one of these schedules, and let's, if you are unable to post it like in your child's workstation, maybe they could write their own schedule and just write down 7:30 to 7:40, live, SEL instruction or whatever, just so that they know what is coming next and there's no surprises. Okay. We also would love for students to keep their time organized by completing their asynchronous assignments and logging on to these really important apps that we have talked about before, AR and MyOn. Students should be reading about 20 to 30 minutes every day and taking quizzes, not necessarily every day, but at least weekly. ST Math is another program that we know is something that is required for students to complete, and it's about a 30-minute assignment twice a week. So if I don't go on it today, then I'll put it on my calendar for tomorrow, as long as I know that I need to do that for 30 minutes twice a week. Now, can I do it longer? Of course you can. But, you know, we're struggling for boys and girls to even stay on for 30 minutes twice a week. I know Miss Quayle and I and Miss Ortiz, they're working on maybe like a log to keep track of the puzzles for ST Math. And we are doing a session for ST Math on Monday at 8 a.m. So if you'd like to join us for that, that would be amazing. And also, I'm sure you've heard us talk about Lexia, which is another program that is very important for students. And that's like 20 to 30 minutes a day. So these are things that your scholar can put down on his calendar for today, and then they could check it off. And as they go, maybe they want to take a break for an hour, but they know that they still have to complete 3 more assignments. So again, the organization of time, using that planner, keeping their stuff organized is going to be very important and vital in being independent and motivated in their own learning.
Ms. Emmett?
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you. I didn't catch, what is the 30 minutes twice a week? I didn't catch what that should be. I don't think it's reading, because I think that's 30 minutes a day.
Yes, it's ST Math, and a lot of the times we refer to that program as Gigi because of the little penguin. So we'll be sure to add like a little parentheses on that. So in ST Math, it's an additional visual conceptual program that teaches students different math concepts in their grade, and that is basically 30 minutes twice a week.
So is that separate from Gigi, or is ST Math Gigi?
Correct. ST Math is Gigi.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I missed that part. Thank you.
That's okay. And then again, we just said that organizing materials, it's very important now more than ever to create a learning space. Identifying a learning space that's accessible. So for example, we can't, let's say, for example, we say the dinner table, but in the morning, everybody's going to be having breakfast there. So that's not really accessible in the morning. So we need to make sure we have a little space assigned to our scholars that is accessible to them, that they're able to use. Think about the location, you know, think about the sound and the lighting that comes through to that location. Is it like a nice little corner where they're going to be concentrating, or is it in front of the TV, you know, where there's going to be a lot of distractions? Think of their seating arrangement. Like, are they sitting on a hard stool, or are they sitting on the carpet? Make sure that the supplies are available to them and they don't have to like run to another part of the room to go get those supplies. I feel like a learning space can look very different, okay? And that is okay. So trust me, we have been in many classrooms where student space looks very different, and that is perfectly fine. We call it flexible seating, but the only thing that I encourage is for your scholar to be camera ready. And by that, I mean, if their space is on their bed, because that is where they designated to be comfortable and learning, then being under the covers with the blanket over my head isn't necessarily camera ready. So just encourage your scholar to be camera ready. By that, I mean ready, prepared, ready to learn with their materials next to them. And I know that sometimes, you know, our spaces are limited, especially, you know, when we have more than one scholar attending school. But I feel like wherever it is that you are, or he or she is, we can say, just make sure you're sitting nice and straight. You know, maybe if it's on the bed, let's prop some pillows behind you so that you can sit up straight and you can watch the teacher, and you still have a little bit of like space to write. I know this is a challenge, but I feel like it's going to be something that's going to be very important for them to be successful. If I'm laying down on the ground for 2 hours, I'm not going to be very comfortable. So it's really important that, you know, you kind of like decide what their learning space is going to look like. Ms. Taylor, do you have any questions at all of anything that we've talked about so far?
No, not so far. I think everything you're saying is exactly on point and has proved to be successful for both of my kids. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. So Miss Cuello is going to continue. I forgot to introduce us, but I think everybody knows. So anyway, she's going to continue with the rest of our presentation.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about organizing materials. So every scholar has a Chromebook. So every night, making sure that it's charged so you're prepared for the morning class at 7:30. And this way that the Chromebook doesn't die when they're in live instruction, and they can be in their live instruction and do their asynchronous work throughout the day. Another thing is just making sure that we're taking care of the Chromebooks, and that is having maybe like a place that your scholar can have their Chromebook be held, whether that's a table or a shelf or anywhere where it's going to be safe. We know that accidents happen, and sometimes those keys on the keyboard can come loose, but just as long as we're not picking at them and purposely trying to take them off, but we get that accidents happen. So just taking care of the Chromebook best that we can. Also, the way that scholars can stay organized is by checking their Google Classroom or Seesaw, which are these icons right down here, checking them every day during their asynchronous time. Their teachers will be posting all of their work on there for them to complete. And if they have completed their work for the day, they can always go back and see if the work from the previous day was not completed and finish that as well. So just taking initiative and doing their work and turning it in. Also, they had the opportunity to come pick up textbooks and from Ponderosa. So if you haven't, you can always come by and get your materials. What that will look like are our benchmark materials, which are these little textbooks that they can write in. And they should be getting a couple of the units for that. They'll also be getting their math book. And then something else that is just going to keep them organized is a notebook. So if they have the opportunity to, I know that the Dollar Tree sells them, to grab a couple notebooks, and this way they can, like Mrs. Ammett was saying, write down their schedule, take notes while the teacher is teaching during live instruction, and just a place for them to keep organized through distance learning. So the way that you would get to your Google Classroom is on the student portal. When you log into the student portal, this will be the face, and this is where your Google Classroom will live. If you click that button, it will take you to the Google Classroom dashboard. And from there, you can select the classroom that your child is in. So we try to look for the year 2021, and that will be their current classroom, because we know that some scholars will have multiple Google Classrooms from the previous years. So just making sure we're on the correct Google Classroom. And then, yeah.
Sorry, just real quick, because this is a question I've had. So I have the parent classroom, which only allows me to receive emails. If I want to go in to the student portal and just see what my son's been doing or my child's been doing, do I have to do it from the Chromebook, or can I do it from my laptop? And if I'm able to do that, do I have to have his login information?
Yes. So if you do log in from your laptop, which you can totally get there from your laptop, it doesn't have to be from the Chromebook, you will need his information to log in, his email and his password to get into the student portal, which then is this screen where you can click on his Google Classroom.
Okay, and is that, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to pull up to see the slides. I'll go back and review them. But real quick, do I just search, like, so if I'm going on from my laptop, and which, by the way, I normally have access to mine. We just had a little bit of an issue today. Do I just search Google Classroom? Is it something specific?
So when you'll actually search it, on Google, you can search Anaheim Elementary School District, and then you'll go to the student portal. From there, you'll see like a student tab. You'll click on that, and then that will prompt you to log into your child's student portal. And then when you're in the student portal, you will see 6 little icons, and one of them says My Classroom. And then you can click on the My Classroom and it will take you right to his Google Classroom.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, some students or some teachers are using Seesaw either in addition to Google Classroom or in lieu of Google Classroom. So the way you get to Seesaw is just by scrolling down all the way to the bottom when you are on the student portal where all the apps live, and then you can select the Seesaw app, and that will take you to your child's Seesaw, where again, their asynchronous work will be posted. Now, every teacher has class expectations for when they are live during instruction. So we have taken a primary and an upper grade example. So this is the primary example. And again, it's just a really good reminder of how to stay organized and what their expectations are when the students are live during Teams. So just being on Teams at 7:30, having our camera on. We love to see their faces and know that they're there and focused. So if we can encourage them to have their camera on, that would be amazing. We always want their microphones muted. We understand that there can be, siblings in the room that are also on Teams. So just muting their mic, and then when they want to speak out, that's when they can unmute and raise their little digital hand that they have on Teams. Wearing appropriate clothes for our class, enjoying snacks during our breaks, always having a supervising adult nearby, especially for the younger ones, just in case there's like technology issues. It's just nice to know that there's an adult nearby that could help them. Using your technology in an appropriate spot. So just kind of what Mrs. Zammit went over a little bit ago. Listening closely and raising our hand. So again, there is a digital hand on Teams that the students can click on that will alert the teacher that they have a question or they would like to share out. So that's probably the best way for them to raise their hand. Having your scholarly materials ready. So all of those textbooks and materials that I just went over, having those nearby, a pencil, a highlighter, whatever they think that they would need. And then being respectful to all of the other scholars in the class as well as the teacher. And then this is one that we came up with for upper grade, just using the little Bitmoji of the teacher. So just being on time, being in a quiet space, being prepared, presentation, so what they're wearing, sitting up straight, muting ourselves, and then participation, being focused and ready to participate if needed, raising their virtual hand, communicating by speaking clearly and looking up when you're speaking, and then being respectful. So most teachers will put either one of these, this one or this one, in their daily presentation, just as a reminder of what their expectations are during Teams. Okay, our next topic is organizing thoughts. So this is when note-taking comes into play. So if your child has a spiral notebook or even paper, anything that they can write on, a little notebook, anything that is accessible for them, this is how note-taking, it helps build their independence, and it gives them opportunities to practice the skill that they're learning. So the main one that we used last year is called a one-pager. So these are some pictures of scholars who created a one-pager collaboratively. So it's basically just one page, and the teacher will come up with some criteria or guidelines that they need to include on that page. And they can use pictures, colors, they can write in fun different ways. So it's a really fun way and engaging way to take notes. There's also something called 2-column notes. And we have had a lot of scholars do one-pagers digitally. So I'm going to show you some examples. So here are some examples for math, a one-pager that was done digitally, where they have their concepts in each part of the page. This is also a distance learning one-pager. So they made text boxes, they added pictures, they obviously talked about something, and then they discussed what they learned. This is an all about me one-pager where they just discuss all the things that they like or dislike. And here's another math one just to show you that you can add visuals. And this person actually went and got a video and added the video into their one-pager, as well as pictures. So they just can be very creative, even during distance learning with this. And then organizing thoughts, we do use graphic organizers, and the best thing is that we have digital graphic organizers. So the teachers will post them to Google Classroom or to Seesaw, and then they will be able to complete their thinking maps using them digitally. And it's a visual for organizing and making sense of the content. So for example, if we take a circle map, it's usually for defining something. So in kindergarten, they might talk about the seasons. So they would kind of define summertime and what goes with summertime. And in the middle, they would have summer. And then in the outside circle, they would have all the defining, to define summer, excuse me. And they also develop higher level of thinking. So we use them all throughout kinder through 6th grade as well. And it can be used in all subject areas. So these are something that we use in the classroom, and we are definitely using during distance learning as well. Are there any questions so far? Okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to stop the recording, and then we can answer any questions that we have.